I would just like to let the record reflect that the genesis of this next topic, though very, very flattering, was not my idea. And frankly, no one even asked for my approval
No, they didn't.
or my opinion. But here we are. The overarching message, though, is one I think everyone can relate to. And that is the desire to take those otherwise neutral surface relationships and enhance them, improve them, create a stronger connection with the people we talk to, pass by, and even those we invite into our inner circle. Studio 5's Dr. Matt Townsend has 4 ways we can do that. Deeper connections, deeper relationships.
Yes, you do it every day. 18 years. I've co-hosted and hosted before.
Yes.
Nightmare. Nightmare.
Not true.
It's so hard. It really is so hard. But then, so I thought, our viewers are going to be watching us. They see you every day. They know you're good. They think we have a good relationship. People always say that. But here's what I found. Every one of them are going to go to parties and they're going to feel a little awkward and they're not going to know what to do with the next person they meet. But I sit and watch you go person by person by person through the studio. And then after 18 years, I've seen you kind of follow just some basic principles, it seems like, because a lot of people that you deal with don't know what they're doing. And so you have to get them through a really scary situation. A lot of people are uncomfortable and you get them through it. You make them look good. You make them feel good about themselves.
Generous
so
and very kind.
I want to teach everybody the principles so they can be little Brooks.
Oh my gosh.
Out there in your fun
listen,
activities and neighborhood parties.
After all that, I'm sitting here thinking, am I going to get hit by a bus today? Do I have a terminal illness I don't know about? Am I getting fired? That was a very nice tribute. Thank you very much.
You're beautiful. Don't even worry about it.
4 lessons, lessons beyond me, that's so kind, that can help people go deeper in their relationships as they invite guests into their home this summer.
Rule number 1, or principle number 1, dedicate focused time and attention one-on-one. Every segment you have ends up being one-on-one. So when somebody goes to a party, there's a principle there that if you can dedicate some time and attention to the one, you can usually get a connection and go way deeper with a person.
If you're focused in.
If you're flipping around, not going deep, you're not going to get very far.
You know what bugs me the most at a party? Or I think the biggest indicator of the opposite of what you're describing is like the darty eyes, the shift. It's body language.
Yeah,
like
look at, so-and-so's here.
If you're at a party and you can tell someone's looking over your head or like, who's that just walked in?
But you're so good at it. And nobody knows that when I'm talking to you, I know exactly on your face where your head is.
When I start to twitch?
Because you're so present. I can tell. I can tell. It's also bad because if you start to get emotional, it bugs me. And then I get emotional. But so every one of us out there need to be way more focused, eye to eye, turn away the distractions. And literally, if you think about it, that might be the number 1 key to connecting to somebody.
I agree. I think if you can make eye contact, I feel this with my kids. Like I can be listening, but I'm not present until I am staring into their little eyeballs.
Beautiful. That's it. All of us can do that. You're a master of it. Principle number 2, this is so important. Make the space safe. Make it a safe space for everybody, right? So a lot of people come on the show and they've never done this before. They don't know what they're doing. I kind of break every rule because I didn't know there were rules. And so
he's been breaking rules since day 1.
But the funny thing about it is you still make the space safe. So we can make space safe with people in a conversation if we just sometimes slow down the conversation. And you're very intentional about that, and you're very good about leading them if they're getting a little stuck into something or priming them with a better question.
How can you make someone safe? Let's say we're in a social situation. Maybe this is someone more on our inner circle, but they're opening up, they're being vulnerable, they're emotional even. That can make people a little twitchy and uncomfortable. How do you create a safe space in those deeper conversations?
One of the ways I would do it is actually be responsive to what they're saying and kind of follow their lead. If they're getting emotional, be willing to move in closer, open up your stance a little bit more. Say you're sorry. Talk to them about what you're seeing in them. Talk about the emotional side of it. Even just say some supportive stuff like, I'm here for you, I've got you. And you don't ever have to do that in your situation publicly, but we all know that you can get us out of the awkwardness. A lot of people in a conversation are just awkward. We don't know what to do. And going slow, by the way, making the topic safe. Sometimes our topics aren't safe to certain people. Sometimes they don't process well. Sometimes they just need to know they have time to say what they need to say. and you might be able to help them say what they need to say, or add a few words that might help. Or if they get stuck and you've been tracking, you might be able to give a little help with the words they can use.
Yeah, so be that person.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if the space is safe, then they're going to be more drawn to you and keep coming back to you.
We're going to go one-on-one. We're going to make this space safe. These are all really good in all sorts of relationships.
And then number 3, the principle is be sincerely curious. You can't really be interested in everything that comes on the show, but you can be curious, and I've heard you say this and teach this before, about the human story.
Yes.
So inside of everything we're doing, there's a human side and a human story. So if you'll just take, every one of us could take one more step deeper. If someone at a party is talking about how they love to go rappelling, and you have no interest in that, and you think that's crazy, you could get curious about it. Like, where did you learn to do that? And what is it about rappelling that is so invigorating and life-changing for you? And who do you take, and do people worry about you? Get into the human side of the story, and I think you do that really well with every guest. No matter what they're pitching or selling or talking about, there is a human reason all of us do what we do.
Always. I do think, and thank you, I do think when people say, oh, that must be a hard job or a difficult job, asking questions is the easiest thing in the world.
Easy.
And sometimes I marvel that even the most socially savvy person, in real life relationships, just fails to show up with a question. And that's all you need.
That's right.
It's just a good question. It's not.
And even preceding the question is just a little curiosity.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more appealing than someone being curious about you.
Right. You feel seen.
That's so powerful. And so the questions matter, but what it also does is unveil the humanity. And then inside of the humanity, you can see where we're together.
Yeah.
And I think you're really good at then going back and tying into what we're, you know what, I feel the same way.
I'm blushing.
Quit
This is
You're
like
good.
the nicest thing ever. 30 seconds.
Yep.
What's your 4th point?
Intentional regard, meaning simply every person you're sitting across is really a 1 in 400 trillion being.
I love when you speak to this. Go on.
They're a rarity.
Yeah.
The mere fact that it takes 1 trillion cell divisions to create you as a human being, that could have gone sideways so many different ways. So you're not sitting next to just this lump of whatever.
Yeah.
You're sitting next to a 1 in a trillion being.
Yeah.
And then the Mother Teresa idea that inside of each of us is this divine spark. And so if you can, while you're listening, understanding their humanity, if you can just intentionally regard their divinity, their divine spark that's in them, then everyone can leave knowing that they're special, that they matter, that you care.
Good principles for any relationship, and despite my deflection, I'm very touched. So
We
thank
love
you so
you,
much.
Brooklyn.
These are the kind of principles Matt teaches to his clients in group settings, in individual counseling, and you've got some cool programs going.
Yes. Coolest thing I've done lately is I've been training coaches to teach everything I do and to sit with couples and to be peacemakers. So it's called the Peacemaker Training Program. We launch it on August 20th, but if you go to matttownsend.com, go start watching some of the videos. We have a little booklet you can get about becoming a coach with us, and we just teach you from A to Z how to work with people and how to get the most out of the people you work with.
You're passing on the torch.
Awesome.
You're sharing the legacy. MattTownsend.com is where you want to go. Thank you, friend.
Thanks, Brooke.